Hello, beautiful people. It's your girl Jeannie, and I welcome you all to Jeannie's Signatures. Thank you to my amazing subscribers. So today we'll be making this beautiful back top with this beautiful neckline. So you can see that the neckline is like a scalloped neckline, but it's slightly different from the usual. So if this is what you're interested in, so the main emphasis is going to be on the neckline because I'm going to be cutting a princess that bustier with a basque effect on the top and then of course the skirt. So I'm going to be making use of a plain George fabric. That's the inspiration, and I'll be showing you the one I made shortly. So this is what I made. So you can see the neckline, you can see how beautiful it is, having the scalloped look, and you can just see the beauty. So if this is what you're interested in, please sit back, relax, and enjoy. And for the sleeves, I didn't bother to cut out the sleeves like that because a scalloped edge came with the sleeve, so I just had to use it like that. But if you want to cut your scalloped sleeves, you can just leave it in the comment section and I'll be right there to show you how to go about that, since my own fabric already has the scalloped edges, so I didn't want to cut off the beauty of that design that came with it, so I just had to use it like that. And my client really loved this, so we paired this up with tassels to elevate the beautiful look. So you can see how it came out. It came out looking very, very nice. So if this is what you're interested in, let's go for it. So now I've already drafted out my basic bodies, having my chest line, bust point on the bust, waistline, and then the length of the top, and then the shoulder and the armholes respectively. So the next thing to do now is to just go ahead and then impute our measurements. So right there on the bust point, I'll divide the bust nipple to nipple or bust span measurement into two, and then add half an inch, and then I mark that on the bust point. But on the bust, on the waist and the length of the gown, I just marked out the exact measurement minus the half inch. So that's why you can see that place slightly slanted at the upper part. So right there on the under bust, I'll be taking 2 inches all the way down to the length of the top, and then I connected that. So I'll just connect all those points together like so in form of a straight line. So if you're used to my tutorials by now, you should be able to understand all what I'm doing. So from the bust point, I came down by half an inch, and then I will carving out that to carve out the underbust where the breast will be sitting. So this is what we have now. So the next thing to do now is to come to our armhole and then divide the armhole by 2, get the midpoint, and then right from there I'll connect that to meet the bust span measurement in the middle like so. So this will serve as a curve to meet that. So from that midpoint, I'm going to come down by 2 inches, and from that 2 inches I'll come up by half an inch from the bust point line, and then I'll connect like that. So I'm securing the dart and then bringing out the cup for the sides. So in order for us to avoid shortage of fabric when sewing for that 2 inches, I extended out by 2 inches so that when I'm sewing, everything is going to be rhyming appropriately. So I was just trying to explain that there are different ways you can go about this that thing around the armhole area, but I always used this and I'm comfortable with this. So whatever you're comfortable with, you can go ahead and use. So now divide the bust measurement by 4, add back the darts, and then put my sewing allowance. So whatever I have on the chest line is what we'll have on the bust point measurement as well. So I've carved out the armhole, and then I'll go to my waist measurement, divide the waist by 4, add back the 2 inches I used for my dart, and then add the sewing allowances. And then I'll connect that from the bust to the waist, and then I'll go over to the length of the gown, which is supposed to be a basque line. So I'll not be taking any measurements there. So for my back's depth, I used 6 inches. You can use 5, you can use 4. So this is entirely dependent on your choice. Now, if you connect straight like this, you're going to be running into a problem. That's what I was trying to explain. So all you need to do is to fold this first, or you go ahead and cut out first before doing your basque. But I'm going to be folding it like this, just like close up the darts that you took there, and then you're going to be taking your ruler and then slant it like this. So like this, you're going to be getting the actual basque. So I can open it up now, and then I'll go ahead to cut out and separate my measurements. By the time we finish cutting this, I'll be showing you that even though you're saying the line's not aligned now, it's going to be aligning properly by the time we finish everything. Now for the neckline. For the neck width, I'll be making use of 4 inches. You can use 3 inches depending on your shoulder measurement. So my client has a wide shoulder measurement. She has this wide shoulder measurement of about 17 inches. So that's why I decided to use 4 inches. So, and I came down by 6 inches for the depth, which I'll be increasing later to 7 inches here. So far your bust is not obvious, then you're good to go. So I just want to open it up so that I'll get exactly what I'm doing. So I'm trying to show you how the neckline looks here. So now I've drawn like a square like this. So the next thing now is so from the shoulder measurement, I'll be marking 1.5 inches intervals in 3 places. So I'll just dot that 1.5 inches intervals. So after doing the 1.5 inches intervals, I discovered that what was left will be too small for me to create the arc. So that was why I extended the depth by that 1 inch. So please kindly ignore the first 6 inches depth and then make use of the 7 inches depth. So you can see that I have enough space from that other one now. So now you're going to be using your hand, your free hand, your creativity should come in place here. And then you draw your scalloped edges like so. So if you want it to be more pointed than what I did, you can go ahead and do that. So this is entirely your choice. So as you can see, we have 3 scalloped lines there. And then the next thing to do is that right there at the depth, you're going to be going in by 1 inch and then slant it from that side like so. You can see the way I slanted it. And then you connect back the lines. So this is what we're going to be having. So this is how the neckline came out to be. And then at that pointed part, just give it a little bit of a curve so that it won't be too pointed. So this is basically all for this. So I'll go ahead and then cut this out. So if you have enjoyed watching the tutorial up to this point, or this is your first time of coming across my channel, please, I have other tutorials, beautiful tutorials on the channel that you can do well to check out, and you'll be glad you did. Thank you all. So I'm cutting it out. Just follow the process and you'll be getting everything that I did. And if you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section, because I'll always be there to give you the answers to the best of my ability. Yeah. So I'm cutting out the armhole, and then I'll cut out the sides like so. Cut out the shoulder slants. And then I wanted to cut out the scallop edges, and then at the point I just had to have a rethink, because if you cut it out, if you want to sew it, it's going to be very, very difficult. So I would advise you don't cut it out yet. You're going to be, you see what I said now, when you place it together, you see that it rhymes. So you can now go ahead and cut it out. So this is what we have. So for the scalloped line, neckline, just leave it as it is. So I didn't cut this on fold. So I'll be going ahead to attach the other side to this, because it's going to be difficult for me to sew if I don't do it like that. So now I'm going to cut the back part. So for the back part, just add your zipper allowance. There will be no bustier at the back, so it's just the normal darts that will be at the back. Add your zipper. Get your usual basic bodice. The neck width should correspond with that of the front, 4 inches. Slant your shoulders. Do your bust measurement divided by 4. Add your sewing allowances. And then for the length of the back piece, please, there's not going to be a basket at the back, except you want it to be as long as that of the front. But my client does not want us to be as long as the front part. So for the back part, I'm going to be measuring exactly the length that is in the front minus the extension of the basque. So don't add the extension of the back when you're cutting basque when you're cutting the back. I believe you understand, because it's not going to have in a basque. So if the length is 20, let the back piece be 20, because the extension for the front was 6 inches for the basque. So please kindly take note. So I'm through with the back piece, as you can see. So this is how it looks. So I'll be setting this aside, and then I'll be cutting the sleeves. So for the sleeves, like I told you, it came with the scalloped edges. So that's why I'm not going to be doing anything to the scalloped edges, because I want it to rhyme with the fabric. But if you want me to make a tutorial on how to cut an A-shaped sleeve with a scalloped edge with like your normal fabric, I'll be glad to oblige that. Yeah. So this is the sleeve that I'm cutting right here. I've done several tutorials on how to cut this kind of sleeve. That's why I did this in a fast forward mode. So thank you. So you can see what I explained earlier. I extended the neckline. I added another paper and then recreated what was on this side, on this other side, because I'll be using this as a guide when I'm going to be sewing the neckline, which I'll be showing you everything, how I'm going to be doing it. So this is my fabric. I've gone ahead to cut it, as you can see. It's the same thing. I've cut out lining for it as well. I'm gonna have to cut out my lining. So when I want to sew it, it will be easy for me when I want to sew it. But I'll still show you subsequently as we progress in this tutorial. So I'll be using a bra foam. So, and then I'll be going ahead to iron my STA on both the lining and then the fabric. So I've gone ahead to do that. I've gone ahead to iron my STA on both the lining. I've cut out the bra foams. I've gone ahead, I'm just trying to show you that I've gone ahead to iron all that. So the next thing to do is for me to join my lining separately and then the fabric separately. So I'm just trying to arrange all that. So I'll place like this, right sides facing each other, then go ahead and join it. So I've gone ahead to do that, and this is what we have, as you can see. Join the lining as well, and I've given it a good press. So the next thing to do is to place my lining right sides facing each other with the fabric, and then introduce the paper. So I'll place the paper like this. Just make sure that you align the paper properly, and then I'll be using pins to hold this in place. Just use your pins to hold it in place so that it won't shift when you are tracing out the lines on the neckline. So use your pins to hold it very well. So this is what we have. And just pin it down. Yes. So the next thing to do now is to go ahead and follow the lines and then sew it on my sewing machine, and I'll be back. So I've gone ahead to sew it. As you can see, this is it on the reverse side. So I'll remove my pins. And then I'll remove the paper, because we don't need the paper again. It has done the work that it's supposed to do. So I'll remove the paper. So now I'm through with removing of the paper, and then I'll go ahead and cut out the shape of the neckline. So when cutting this out, please make sure that you don't cut through the thread, the sewing. If not, you're going to be running into problems. So you need to be very careful when doing this. So just go ahead and cut it out like so. And then give some little notches at the curvy part, so that when you turn it out, it's going to be easy. And then you give it a very good press. So let me quickly do that. So I've done that. This is the back piece. I've gone ahead to turn it with my lining. I've done my darts and I've fixed my zipper, and then this is the neckline. As you can see, this neckline came out looking very beautiful, and then I've used the lining to turn out the basque effect. So now the next thing to do is to go ahead and then join the shoulders and then close it out on the sides. You can see it must align properly. So I've gone ahead to do that, and this is what we have. This neckline is really giving. It's very, very beautiful. So this is the back, you can see. So the next thing to do now is to just fix our sleeves, and then we're good to go. So you can see that this came out very, very nice. It's very beautiful. I've attached the tassel at the basque part, and it came out looking nice. So this is the skirt. I did this off camera because I already have the tutorials on how to cut a pencil skirt. That's why I didn't show it. So thank you all, and God bless you. If you enjoyed watching this tutorial, kindly don't forget to subscribe, like, share. Like I always say, this is Genius Signatures, and I'm signing out. Bye. See you on my next